the whole point of this, basically, since this arc is about identity, this applies to all of storytelling in all media, not just Boruto, not just this arc, but
Correct.
especially Boruto and
Yeah.
especially this arc, that characters who understand who they are, have a strong conviction, aren't hypocritical, have a solid foundation for their ideology, win more than characters who don't. And
Yeah. So like I
especially in
use
this
this
arc. Yeah.
yeah, and so the main difference for Naruto and Boruto, especially Naruto, is characters just like Itachi is just the screenwriter and he literally like talks about it. Like in the story on top of symbolically behind the story. But like you can do this in every single story. For example, Darth I use this example, or I'm going to use this example in my video. Star Wars, okay? Like when Anakin turns into Darth Vader, that's the way his identity as Anakin takes on the identity given to him by the Emperor. He loses to Obi-Wan. Very end of movie 6, he reclaims his identity as Darth Vader, but as Anakin, and he kills the Emperor. Narratively wins, saves the world. Like,
Yeah.
very easy example there.
And
Like, this is a thing.
I haven't seen Star Wars, but all of those characters, this is very important to point out, all of those characters are still extremely strong. Whether it's Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, the Emperor, whoever. They have a chip in their armor, but they still have more shield than practically anyone else, regardless. The difference is just that the main character, the protagonist, the one who has the identity that doesn't have any hypocrisy, has no chips in their armor. So even if they have a smaller shield, a thinner shield, a shield that their shield wraps all the way around their body, whereas the antagonist that has the more opposing, heavier, thicker, bigger shield, it has one chip in
Yeah,
the
that
armor.
one
That's
weak
its
spot.
hypocrisy, and that's what the main character can use to overcome the stronger, more powerful, more opposing antagonist. Is that one chip in the armor that the protagonist doesn't have.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the
the
way.
stubbornness. And so, bringing that over to Boruto, the characters who already have a solid idea of their identity, such as Boruto, are already strong in this arc and already have the end result of what this arc is trying to do, which is either to change identities or solidify identities for those who don't know who they are. Moving on,
Yeah,
you
and
can
real
see why I
quick,
said Mitsuki is the next character.
exactly.
Yes.
So real quick though, I wanted to point this out. When it comes to like, technically this could be for the protagonist or an antagonist, but let's use Kawaki's example. Walky could quote unquote win the end of this arc without actually overcoming the chip in his armor. He could win because he just gets thicker armor, an extra layer, whatever. That lets him win this arc.
Yeah.
By the end of the story is what we're referring to. The end of the completed story, whether the character ends an arc or not. That's when it's going to come. He either fixes his chip or he loses. It's one or the other. But in an ongoing story like this, in this arc, Walky can win by just getting another layer of armor rather than fixing his chip.
Yeah. It's not the battle, it's the war in terms of screenplay. It's not the act, it's the resolution.
Yeah, exactly. So that I just want to bring that up though, because like
Yeah.
if Walky wins, no, that doesn't mean he just got the chip in his armor taken care of.
And so
It's not going to happen in this arc.
outside of
We already know.
outside of the
I was gonna say,
plot,
we already know we
because
have to
we know these characters are physically strong, that's fine, regardless if it's because of karma or because they're training or scientific ninja tech or whatever, we know they're strong. It doesn't matter why, because in the story, Boruto is strong because he knows who he is and who he wants to be. Kawaki does, just to a slightly lesser degree, which puts him below Boruto in terms of the story, regardless of who's more powerful.
Yeah.
And that would also apply to someone like Mitsuki, who lost to Boruto because Mitsuki was wavering from the very beginning.
Yeah. And Mitsuki, by his own admission, never took the time. I will admit, this is where you get into the anime is a different story from the manga. Mitsuki never took the time to understand and actually affirm himself, his identity. he just thought it didn't matter. What mattered was this external thing of the sun, and that's all he paid attention to. And he realized that was wrong. That's that's from a story perspective why he lost the Boruto. Because he didn't do that.
And the thing with Mitsuki that applies to all wavering characters, even if they're wavering from the beginning, even someone like Haku, they kill those emotions. They bury them deep down in order to fight the protagonist with conviction. So when they're fighting, they themselves aren't wavering. Versus Naruto and Sasuke, Haku wasn't wavering. He was trying to kill them. Versus Boruto, Mitsuki wasn't wavering. He was trying to
wasn't
kill.
trying
Well, no, because Naruto and Sasuke point out the inconsistency. Naruto and Sasuke basically convince Haku to waver once again. Same with Boruto, because Mitsuki did want to kill him, regardless of if he ever was going to actually. He thought he was. At some part in the fight, Haku says he's going to kill them now. He's killing his heart. He's going to act as a shinobi if he must.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really what I'm referring to. Even in, like, basketball. In basketball anime, they're wavering from the very beginning, but they will do whatever they can for their battle of ideas. The point is that they're going to be their strongest. It wasn't a thing that they were inevitably going to lose from the beginning because they were wavering. Because in the fight itself, they're not wavering. But it's because they have that waver potential. Like you said, they're covering up their chip with another layer of armor. But the main character, because their sword of their armor, whatever, it's so strong, it can just pierce through that shield and hit.
Yeah, their words cut deeper than any blade in Naruto.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect. Exactly.
You know, actually, okay, we can never do this tier list for obvious reasons, but it's a hilarious idea. Best lines in Naruto tier list.
Well, I thought you were going another direction with this. I think we can do this tier list. The words that cut deepest in Naruto ranked.
Okay, that one, I guess, because, well, even the words. So, like, how many words? Like, we have to just, like, pick and choose. Like a sentence that says, hey, we just can't include that.
Yeah. Words that cut deepest ranked.
But I like the idea, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Bro, that line, that's going up there regardless which tier list. One of the best lines in art.
Haku live for you! It's great.
I think a best scene that's like, okay, how specific are we getting? Like, because, like, ironically, you could take both Zabuza's part and Naruto's part separately, and they're both going up there.
But getting back to the point with Mitsuki and applying it to, like, or comparing to other characters, someone like Sasuke in the final battle of Shippuden, he's the second strongest character in the entire series at that point. Freaking Naruto and Sasuke. It's because of his conviction that he's there. He has an answer. It's right. It's just not quite right. It's not as right as Naruto. It's right with one small flaw. Sasuke is just blind to one aspect, but every other regard, it's correct. So it's like the villain that has a point. The difference between them and someone who's crazy is just the fact that the crazy person just went insane. The person who goes insane, they can still have a point, but because of their emotional instability, whatever argument they could have had just goes out the window because they're insane. Someone like Pain, who's able to keep a calm and rational demeanor, he gets his point across. If Pain was just insane, if Deidara said what Pain said, no one's going to take that idea seriously because of where it's coming from. Which I think is very interesting.
Yeah.
This also another idea is this applies to Neji, because Neji was not only being calm and rational, but he in the fight actually believed in what he was saying from the very beginning. It was hypocritical and wrong, and Naruto pointed that out, and he realized it after the fact, and maybe you could say he believed actually deep down all along Naruto was right. But the point is, regardless, in the fight, he didn't. It doesn't matter whether he did or not, because I know you're going to say that he didn't, and I agree, but that's not the point.
Yeah, because like Naruto kind of points out one of the flaws in Neji's argument. Like, I thought it was your destiny to serve the main house, not to beat it to a bloody pulp. Like,
yeah, well, even why I say that is during the fight itself, Naruto's words begin to frustrate Neji. If Neji thought he was
Exactly.
unequivocally correct, he would have just ended the fight. The point is that Naruto's
Exactly.
words struck a nerve. Why? It did that for a reason.
And I agree with that.
Okay. So last Mitsuki things I said was obvious connections between Mitsuki and Ada. And so Mitsuki is still figuring out his identity. One. Yeah, he's coming more in terms of that, so he'll be a stronger shinobi in the future. He'll be an even better man.
Right.
Yeah. Than he was the day before. Shout out Rock Lee.